Donald Trump's press secretary, Carolyn Leavitt, is bad at her job. She is abrasive, she is arrogant, and most of all, she's just dumb. Let's be real. She's just dumb. And that was exposed, as it always is in every press conference she gives, but specifically today when she was asked about Donald Trump's favorite word and what is increasingly becoming American consumers' least favorite word, and that is tariffs. When she was confronted on her lack of knowledge, she lashed out and started attacking the reporter who asked her the question, and there was a lot more meltdowns than just that we are going to get into. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we can get into that question, I want to start where the press conference started, with this question right here.
Kick off our briefing. Thank you.
Really appreciate you having me, Caroline. A couple of questions for you, if I may. First on the stock market. So currently it's the 25th anniversary today of the dot-com bubble crash. There's a lot of concern for a lot of Americans right now about the state of the economy. President Trump has refused to rule out a recession. Secretary Lutnick, however, has told us there will not be one. So can the White House just tell and assure Americans today that there's not going to be a recession?
Well, there's a lot to unpack there. So let me start by saying that, first of all, when it comes to the stock market, the numbers that we see today, the numbers we saw yesterday, the numbers we'll see tomorrow are a snapshot of a moment in time. And as President Trump has said, and I'm here to echo the remarks of this president of this White House, we are in a period of economic transition. We are in a period of transition from the mess that was created under Joe Biden in the previous administration. Joe Biden left this country in an economic disaster.
I don't recall a recession under the Biden presidency. I remember lots of speculation from the media that there would be, economists, Republicans saying it's all but guaranteed. But unlike Donald Trump, who had all the praise of his Republican Party and so many Fox hosts saying that this was going to be the greatest economy we ever see and immediately screwing it up, President Biden avoided a recession with strong economic policy. And Donald Trump, in just a matter of a couple of weeks, is doing the exact opposite, taking the booming economy and putting it in a shredder and then dumping those shredded little bits into a garbage can and then putting that garbage can in the toilet, which he then throws in a dumpster fire. So that's what America looks like. But that's not the spin that Carolyn Leavitt put on it.
So we are in a period of transition from that economic nightmare under a president who had no idea what he was doing, never held a private sector job in his life, into a golden age of American manufacturing under a businessman and a deal maker in chief in President Donald J. Trump, who is implementing the formula that we know works. Look at President Trump's results in his first term. If people are looking for certainty, they should look at the record of this president. That's why the American people reelected him back to this office. And
I don't remember gold smelling like crap, because that's the state of our economy. That's what the markets are reflecting. That is what economists are predicting. That's what American consumers are feeling when they go to the grocery store, when they're at the gas pump, seeing their rents go up. That's what people are feeling right now. This is not the golden age of America because you call it that, or because Donald Trump decides he wants to rename a body of water. No. And what's so funny about it is that the people most affected by Donald Trump's golden age are his voters and biggest supporters, billionaires who have seen, over the past couple of days, $1 trillion wiped out of the market, and MAGA voters who are paying more and more and more every single day because of their golden president. It's ridiculous. What's even more ridiculous is what we would expect, that Donald Trump refuses to take any responsibility.
Karen.
Thanks, Caroline. Just back on the markets, you said that what we're seeing this week right now on Wall Street is a snapshot of a moment in time. But does the president think he bears any responsibility for the turmoil in the stock market this week?
Look, the president is unwavering in his commitment to restore American manufacturing and global dominance, and I think he doubled down on that this morning with his new statement and the tariffs that will be implemented tomorrow on steel and aluminum.
Donald Trump won't be held accountable? What a shock. What a change of pace that is from normal events, that Donald Trump wants no responsibility for the actions he put in place and we warned about constantly. And it's not just Democrats. It wasn't just Kamala Harris saying that tariffs are an effective tax on you. which we knew, my God, voters really screwed this thing up. But even Republicans have pled with Donald Trump, get rid of the tariffs. But he doesn't care because he does not understand what they are fundamentally. And clearly neither does Carolyn Levitt. And she was pretty upset when she was pressed on that. Just take a look.
You're welcome.
If we could just step back for a second. When President Trump last addressed the BRT when he was on the campaign trail, his big push was on tax cuts. He's going there today as he's proposing tax hikes in the form of tariffs. And I'm curious for why he's prioritizing that over the tax cuts.
He's actually not implementing tax hikes. Tariffs are a tax hike on foreign countries that, again, have been ripping us off. Tariffs are a tax cut for the American people. And the president is a staunch advocate of tax cuts. As you know, he campaigned on no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, no taxes on Social Security benefits. He is committed to all three of those things, and he expects Congress to pass them later this year.
I'm sorry, have you ever paid a tariff? Because I have. They don't get charged on foreign companies. They get charged on the importers.
And ultimately, when we have fair and balanced trade, which the American people have not seen in decades, as I said at the beginning, revenues will stay here, wages will go up, and our country will be made wealthy again. And I think it's insulting that you're trying to test my knowledge of economics and the decisions that this president has made. I'm now regret giving a question to the Associated Press. Mary.
I love the position that Carolyn Levitt is trying to come from right here. How dare you question my lack of knowledge? I have fully demonstrated that I don't know what I'm talking about. How dare you challenge me? It's like, you're a liar and a fraud. You're bad at your job. Your boss is stupid, and so are you. Of course, we're going to ask the very basic question that the answer is already understood through the outcome. Of course, Donald Trump doesn't know how a tariff works. If he did, he wouldn't be saying it would bring in $1 trillion of revenue a year and make prices nothing. And there's this new argument that MAGA is putting forward that this is a transitionary period for the economy as we transition into making goods at home. And, you know, there may be some credence there to wanting to bring back American manufacturing if we hadn't seen Donald Trump ship it overseas in his first term. But there are other economic mechanisms you can take to bring manufacturing to America. Sure, you can give some tax cuts. You can invest in manufacturing like Joe Biden did in the CHIPS Act, which Donald Trump wants to get rid of, cutting hundreds of thousands of good-paying manufacturing jobs. They are dumb. I continue to say this. They are dumb. Let's stop treating these people with any legitimacy whatsoever. They do not deserve it. Carolyn Levitt deserves to be questioned on if she can do left or right without making the L's with her hands. She is not a smart person. She's not. And she's a liar, as we can see right here.
Cutting the waste, fraud, and abuse out of these programs will protect it for hardworking Americans.
Carolyn, respectfully, he said around $500 to $700 billion. There was no evidence to claim that. And also, if that is the case, that would represent more than a third of what Social Security paid out last year, maybe 20% of Social Security and Medicare.
Again,
combined.
if you read his full quote, he said, "We think." So it's an estimate based on what he's seen. He's not saying definitively. He's saying that's what DOGE suspects and thinks. And that's exactly why DOGE was created, to ensure that we are investigating the fraudulent spending, the wasteful abuse across our federal government. And I would remind everybody in this room that 77% of the American people support this effort by Elon Musk and DOGE to identify such waste, fraud, and abuse. Go ahead.
It's all it is. It's just lies. It's a big facade. It's what is the Matthew McConaughey thing? The fairy dust? I don't know what I'm doing at this point. I'm losing it watching these people be so crazy. No, Trump didn't say that there was $500 billion. He said that there was the thought that he could say that if they found it when they thought they could. These are not sentences. And now they're coming after your Social Security. That's what's next. That is what's on the docket. It inevitably was. I didn't think we'd get to it in 8 weeks, but here we are. And my congressman, Maxwell Frost, who's been hearing a lot about this from his constituents in Florida, as you'd expect, had a lot to say on that.
It's not just, billionaires like Elon Musk who are going around attacking it. My own Florida Senator Rick Scott, the richest person in Congress, which on the topic of fraud, my senator made history. He's the man responsible for the largest Medicare fraud in the history of this country, $1.7 billion. He says that Republicans are, quote, going to have to cut Social Security, end quote. Why are they doing this? Well, to take money from Social Security to use it for tax cuts for people who are too rich to need it. House Republicans plan to make $880 billion in cuts to health care. This means cuts to Medicaid and Medicare, too. Ms. Wagner, 4 in 8 American children are Medicaid recipients, including over 60,000 people in my district alone. For an Orlando family currently receiving Medicaid, what could be the financial fallout from losing access to Medicaid?
Well, first, when states are forced to cut back on funding, they are going to cut back on who's eligible and the benefits they receive. But cuts will have broader impacts than just those who are no longer eligible. They will directly or indirectly affect the amount of funds available for state staff, for IT systems that support Medicaid, and they'll probably lead to more improper payments and reduced program integrity. And it will impact people whose eligibility isn't cut. Longer call center wait times, more errors, uncertainty, stress, and possibly not being able to get approved for benefits or losing coverage at renewal, even though they remain eligible.
Thank you. Before coming to Congress, I worked in organizations, and one of the proudest things I did was work at March for Our Lives. It came after the shooting that happened in Parkland. I traveled this country speaking with people that disagreed with me on the issue of gun violence, but it made me a better person. And something I learned during my travels is, in order to speak about something in a bipartisan way, I think it's really important to make sure people are coming at this on the right foot, in good faith. And I'm all for the modernization of our government. I think it's really important, and I say that as the youngest person in the United States Congress. I think it is very important. But when I see the people leading the effort, like Elon Musk, call something like Social Security a Ponzi scheme, and I hear crickets on the other side of the aisle, I have a really hard time taking any of this seriously when I go home and I have people coming up to me in the grocery store who are living paycheck to paycheck, asking me, what are you going to do to protect Social Security?
We are not letting them go after Social Security. We should have stopped after the first cut to government workers, to essential programs that they had no business making. But we got to stop them soon, or else they're going after all of it. Anything that's not putting money directly into Elon's pockets, they're coming for. And we're going to call it out every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around to the end, even through all my just losing it over these people, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.